Hi, welcome back to the Alan Rosenberg Show. This is part two of my video on lost albums. These are albums that have never been released on CD, or if they were, it was for a very limited time, and now you'd have to remortgage a house to purchase one of these CDs. So I'm going to continue with the letter M through Z, part two. The first album is this. Now, I got this album back in 1971. It was given to me as a gift. It's on Epic Records. I have never heard of this band, Mahogany, but when I go to the used record stores, very rarely, once in a while, I see this thing show up, and it goes for a fortune of money. So if anybody really knows details of this, guys, let me know. But I've had this album since 1971. I play it. It's basically looks like four college-age white guys who play Chicago blues, and it's very good. It's good. I like it a lot. I've heard it a million times since 1971. But I couldn't tell you anything about these guys. But it's a cool record. You probably know Melanie. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key, which was like a #1 hit. And Melanie's kind of a hippie, throwback. She was at Woodstock and plays acoustic guitar. This album, Ballroom Streets, came out on Tomato Records. And it's a double album. Came with the lyrics. It's a double album recorded live in a studio with a rockin' band. And to me, it really stands out in Melanie's catalog. I love this album, and it really rocks. So if you like Melanie, you're never going to find this album. But check out a song called Running After Love from this album, if it's out there on YouTube. And more importantly, check out, it's a combination song, Cyclone, Candles in the Rain. Candles in the Rain is one of her most famous songs. But on this album, it's done as a segue with Cyclone, and it's absolutely incredible. It's one of the greatest things I've ever heard by anybody, really, but it's absolutely amazing melody. Besides that, it does have some really great other tracks live. Ballroom Streets, really terrific record that I kind of wish was out there. And check out those recommendations. 1979, Ron Wood toured as the New Barbarians with Keith Richards, and Stanley Clarke was the bassist. Ziggy Modelis was the drummer. And this is the closest that he ever came to having a studio album of the New Barbarians. It's basically the New Barbarians playing a solo album of Ian McLagan, who was the piano player. Of course, he was in the Small Faces and the Faces. But this is a really, really good record, and it's got Ronnie Wood and Keith Richards and Stanley Clarke, and it's called The Troublemaker, and it's a really good album. If you like that kind of Faces, New Barbarian sound. I'm just going to show this cover because it's a classic. I'm not saying this should be put out on CD. I showed on part one, there was an album cover from Grinder Switch. It kind of looked like a vagina. Well, this is a pretty funny album called Mom's Apple Pie, Southern kind of band. And this album cover is banned because, in the middle of that apple pie is a vagina. Just had to show it to you. This is not available on CD. And musically, the cover's a lot better than the music. Mom's Apple Pie. Thought you'd get a kick out of that. Keith Emerson, before Emerson, Lake and Palmer, was in a band called The Nice, a very famous, influential band. And they play really progressive music, kind of like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but before Emerson, Lake and Palmer. But before The Nice did music like that, they were on Andrew Loog Oldham's Immediate Records, and they actually had songs with vocals. Most of their stuff later on was instrumental. And this album is unbelievable. It's called Autumn to Spring, and it's a collection of their early Immediate Records tracks with vocals on it, with Davey O'List and Python Lee Jackson. And this is just killer stuff, and I love it, and you can't get it on CD as far as I know. So if you like King Crimson circa their first album, In the Court of the Crimson King, you would love this album because the thought of Emlist, Davjak, Flower Kings of Flies is brutal. It's rocking. It's just great. And there's their version of America, which is the classic Leonard Bernstein America. But that is instrumental, but it's fantastic. So if you like Emerson, Lake and Palmer and early progressive rock, you got to check out The Nice, but you got to somehow find this stuff from The Nice with vocals because it's fantastic if you like that Mach 1 of King Crimson type stuff. Genya Ravan is pretty famous. She was one of the first female rockers, and this is one of her latest solo records. She did Urban Desire, which is great, which is also not available on CD. And this is And I Mean It. And she's the real deal, man. She's just super. I love her. She was in 10 Wheel Drive, which was a rock band with a big horn section. She's just great. And this album, Junkman, is a duet with Ian Hunter that you got to hear. It's just great. But come on, how can you not love a female rock star who sings "I Won't Sleep on the Wet Spot No More"? Just great. Remember Redbone? Well, they had a big hit with "Come and Get Your Love." Big hit. Well, this is an earlier album called Potlatch. This was my first Redbone album. And this is a promo copy from Epic. I got this when it came out. Oh my God, this was like 1971? Unbelievable. But this is just, yeah, so good, man. Nobody knows this stuff. Maggie's great. Light as a feather. This is just great. Alcatraz is an amazing track. They wrote about Alcatraz because the Native Americans were camping out there. Good stuff. Redbone. Probably the most famous, if only, all Native American rock band. Like I said, made it big time with "Come and Get Your Love." And even Diana Ross. This was one of my first albums I ever had when I was a little kid. She had a TV special with the Jackson 5 and Bill Cosby and Danny Thomas. And I watched it on TV, and my parents went out and bought me the record, and I've had it ever since. Brings back memories. Diana Ross and the TV show Diana with the Jackson 5. Look at that. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. She does Ain't No Mountain High Enough. There's dialogue on here. Jackson 5 are on here. Good stuff. These guys should have made it big. Stars. They were part of the Kiss management group. I actually saw them. They opened up the Styx in '77 on the Grand Illusion tour. And they're just a really good band. They have 4 albums on Capitol. I have all of them. But they need a really good live record. This is a limited edition picture sleeve. I actually got it signed by Richie Rano right there. If you don't know Stars, you should check them out. They were a big influence. I know Bon Jovi mentions them. Fallen Angels, great. And they're just a really Detroit girls. If you just like 70s rock and roll, if you like Bon Jovi, you would like Stars. Cherry Baby, phenomenal. Remember, just call me Angel of the Morning, Angel. This is the guy who did it. He wrote the song, Chip Taylor. You don't see any Chip Taylor CDs anywhere. And this is his album Gasoline, early 70s for sure. London Dairy Company is a great song. But this is the album that's got Angel of the Morning on it, the original version. And if you don't know the original version of Angel of the Morning, there it is. Now, these guys are on CD. Triumvirate, I mentioned Emerson, Lake and Palmer. These guys are like the German version of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. If you like progressive rock and you like ELP, heavy keyboards, no electric guitar, or very limited, Triumvirate is a really good band. And I like this album a lot. Their best album is Illusions of a Double Dimple, which is out there. This album is available, hard to find on CD, but I'm showing it because this is the cover. And the cover that's on the CD version is not this cover. It's a plain white cover. So, record labels, how do you not put it? This is a great cover. Old Loves Die Hard. Put this out on CD with the correct cover. Somebody. This is a guy on Buddha Records also that I really love. He's unfortunately not well known. Michael Wendroff, Brooklyn guy, singer-songwriter. And this was his debut album. And I just love this album. Song lyrics, great studio band with him. And none of his stuff ever came out on CD. And he's just so good. So if you wanted to check out Michael Wendroff, I mean, look at it, the guitar, David Spinoza, Hugh McCracken, Bob Mann, Rick Marotta on the drums. He got top quality players. The Brecker brothers are on the horn section. This is a great album produced by Lou Merenstein again. Check out on YouTube. There's a On the Highway. On the highway, you gotta take it as it comes. This is just a really good album, top to bottom. After this album, he did release 2 other ones. This is called Southpaw. They actually flip the album opens on the left-hand side, which is weird because it's called Southpaw. And then he actually had a live album called Recorded Live. He was really good, but that first album is special. Now I'm a big Southern rock fan, and one of the great Southern rock bands is Wet Willie. You never get bored with Southern rock because within the genre there's so many subgenres. You know, Marshall Tucker is kind of jazzy. Charlie Daniels became country, but they were a super rockin' band. Allman Brothers are bluesy. Leonard Skinner's rockin'. Um, you know, the Outlaws are rockin', but also very country as well. The funkiest of them all was Wet Willie, and they're a spectacular band. I have everything Wet Willie's done, and they're just a great band. Saw them in concert, and they just phenomenal. Jimmy Hall's the lead singer, great personality, great showman. These guys should be a household name. If you don't know Wet Willie, check out a song called Street Corner Serenade, which is from the Mannerisms album. You'll thank me. It's unbelievable. I put it on all my mixtapes and gets everybody dancing. It's just great. But Wet Willie's especially great live, and this is a live album called Left Coast Live. Never saw it on CD. And they're at their prime live. So on this album, No, 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 Grits Ain't Groceries, Everything That You Do Will Come Back to You. Every song is great. Keep On Smiling is another track you should download. Wet Willie, if you like Southern rock with a soulful flavor and funky, what a great band. Most people know Johnny Winter. He's a famous blues man, obviously. And when he signed his record with Columbia Records, it was like the biggest deal back in like '69. This is an interesting album called First Winter. And this is like from '69 or '68. This is an original. I got this album when it came out. It was given to me. And I love this record. This is like his early, they're sort of like demos, but they're really not demos. It's just nothing like Johnny Winter did later on. This is not a heavy blues album. This is like melodic country. So if you like Johnny Winter and you want to hear something different, check out First Winter somehow if it's online. You know, he does a really cool version of Out of Sight, and Coming Up Fast, and Please Come Home for Christmas. Birds Can't Row Boats. That's a great one. Check that one out. I just love this album top to bottom. First Winter, the earliest recordings ever of Johnny Winter, and rare. Now, I'm a really big fan of Jay Giles, and I'm a really big fan of Peter Wolf's solo album. His first solo album is called Lights Out, and this album you can't get on CD. And this is a great solo album. It actually was kind of a hit. I mean, the first, Lights Out, flash, flash, flash. I Need You Tonight. This is just top to bottom commercial. I love this album. It was a huge hit for my turntable when it came out, and it's not available on CD. And it just is really, really fun. And Peter Wolf's whole solo career is great. I mean, he's just so underrated. He's one of the greatest frontmans in history. Jay Giles is one of the great rock and roll bands. Why they're not in the Hall of Fame? Well, that's a insanity, and that's another story to tell. But Peter Wolf, so great. Check out Lights Out. That's just a great upbeat. It just makes you feel good. Actually, there's a duet on this album. Pretty Lady. There it is. Pretty Lady, Mick Jagger's on that with him, uncredited. You got check out Pretty Lady. That's a great track to check out because Peter Wolf and Mick Jagger, the two greatest frontmans in my opinion of all time, doing a duet, it's killer. So there you go. Lights Out, Peter Wolf. One more. When I was really young, I was given this album, and I didn't know who the Yardbirds were because I was like 8 years old, 7 years old when this album came out. This is a double compilation of the Yardbirds. And of course, we all know the Yardbirds is a classic, British invasion band. And at different times they had Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. And I have everything the Yardbirds have ever done, and they're just a super band. But they're be honest with you, they're best in their compilations. And this is the best compilation album for sure. And it never came out on CD. And beautiful artwork, their whole story. Makes you love vinyl when you see something like this. The only thing about the track listing on this album is that it doesn't have a couple of their all-time greats, but it's got about 20 songs, and it covers their career from the first album through to the end. But great stuff. So there you go, the Yardbirds, and that'll finish part 2 of some of my favorite lost albums that have never been available on CD. I hope this was fun for you. If you are brand new, please hit subscribe. Tell your friends. I'm having fun doing these videos, but not many people watching them, but I know it takes time. So hopefully it'll catch on. So please tell your friends to check it out. And I hope you're enjoying it. And subscribe. And thanks for everything. Have a great day.